Well, here we go again. This particular subject matter has grasped me. I know it's grabbing a hold of lots of other people out there, so we'll continue. The idea around wealth creation, I tapped into this years ago. It's really purpose driven. So this whole series is called Purpose Driven Prosperity. It's purpose driven wealth building. It's purpose driven legacy holding. It's everything that you do and I do. If we want to sustain it for legacy, and I have a 300-year plan, right? So it's 300-year plan, which I'm beginning to learn. I really need a 500-year plan. Planning for 300 years is great, but what happens after that? So planning for children, great grandchildren, just in case the world is still around, I want to be prepared for it. So it's really what makes this work is it comes out of purpose. Why? Because I can't sustain something I'm not. My wife has a saying. She says, you can't be something that you can't do. In other words, if I'm doing something, I need to find out who I am. I need to find out who I am so that I can be doing the right things, because I can't be something that I can't do. The doing shows the world that I'm compatible to what's been created for me. If I can't do it, I'm not that. So the number one thing I need to do in my life is discover who I am. Who am I? Why am I here? What's my purpose? What am I supposed to be doing in this world? That changes everything. So today, when we start talking about purpose-driven prosperity, purpose-driven wealth, purpose-driven legacy, here's what I want to say to you straight to your face. Take the territory. Take it. That person you are, that territory you belong here. There's a reason that you're here. Take it. Why? Why am I saying to you boldly, take it? Because prosperity requires ownership. You can't have prosperity if you don't own it. If you don't believe it's yours, you can't have it. So whatever that territory is that comes out of you, your personality, your purpose, your reason for being here, take it. Because prosperity requires that you own it. Prosperity doesn't ask you. It requires you to identify what you own, because you can't possess what you refuse to take responsibility for. I can't have a wife if I don't call her my wife. I can't have children that I don't call my own. If they're my own, it means I take ownership and responsibility of this particular person. I can't say I'm a millionaire and I don't take possession of it. I can't say, Martin, you're a leadership developer by helping people do this, that, and the other. I have to own that world. Well, Martin, that's almost like owning an ice cream shop. There are millions of ice cream shops, but they all have a different name. They all have a different calling. They all have a different niche. They all have different flavors, right? They all have a brand that they're building. What's yours? I'm not saying you have to do something that no one's ever done. You can, but you can do the same. You can have a car dealership, even though there are millions of them, but you have a niche in what you do. That's what I'm after. You can't possess something. You can't possess something you don't own. So you need to own it. Own something. Take that territory. What I want you to start to think is that renters are not blessed. Renters are not blessed. Rulers are blessed. Rulers are blessed. Someone who's ruling over something, a blessing comes out of that. So until you take ownership of your space, your gift, your assignment, your prosperity cannot flow to you freely. You've got to mark a territory. You've got to establish what's yours, not just from talent, What do you own? What is yours? What territory do you want to take? I like the personal development territory that develops people to be themselves. That's my territory. I am marking it. I claim that as my own. So what's the framework for this one? The framework for this one is receive, rule, and reproduce. The framework is receive knowledge about who you are. Receive knowledge about what you can do, your potential, your real gifts, your real talent, that raw thing that's inside of you that needs to be developed. Receive that, but rule that. Rule Martin. Rule Betty, Joanne, Bob, Robert. Rule yourself. Be the king of you. Be the king of your talent. Rule that territory that's inside of you that you're introducing to the world. You're introducing something that came out of you. Rule that territory. Mark it with your brand. And then reproduce it. Do it over and over and over and over habitually, again and again and again and again, till people start to give you a brand. I was walking, we have a banking service called the Carver Legacy Center, me and some partners, great partners. And we were walking in a parade representing our banking service. And the driver of our black car, in case it got hot, it was a long parade. He was driving us to our drop-off place so we could get out and walk in the parade. And someone said, "Do you know who's sitting next to you?" He says, "No, he's the co-owner of the Carver Legacy Center." They said, "No, but do you know who he is?" He said, "I don't." And the person said, "That's Martin Williams. He's been associated with Ambassadors Worship Center. He's no longer the pastor there." And the guy stopped driving and looked at me and listened to what he said. He said, "You're the money pastor." I'm like, whoa, I've never used that term. He said, "But that's who you are. I've listened to all your stuff. I'm sorry, you're in a cap and a t-shirt and I can't really see your face. But when I took my cap off," he said, "Oh, I see you now." He says, "You're the money pastor." And I'm fighting his definition of me. And I said, "Okay, what does that mean?" He said, "You're one of the only people that are connected with God that believes all of us can be rich." And I said, "You're right. I just never called myself the money pastor." He called me the money pastor. What do you do with that? In that moment, I had to say to him, yes, whatever you have called me, I am. I wouldn't have put it that way, but you're absolutely right. I'm the money pastor. What was he saying? There's a differentiation. Listen to me, y'all. He's saying to me, there's a differentiation in pastors who believe we need to leave and go to heaven than you, Martin. You say we can live here and be wealthy. We can be rich. We can be happy. We can be healthy and still serve the Creator. I said, absolutely. That's why you are here. So he was encouraging me, mark that territory. Mark the territory of money pastor. I'm not ashamed of it at all. I'm not mad at anybody who's mad at me. I'm not going to try to correct anybody or argue with anybody. Well, how much money do you want? As much as I can make. As much money as I can make, I can do well with it. Well, there's something wrong with that, Martin. You're greedy. Call me what you like. Doesn't matter to me at all. My job is to master my calling, not to harass you in yours. That's between you and Creator. Spent a lot of time on that. But the money pastor, it just really tickled me. And that was just a couple of days ago. So receive, here's my point. Receive your territory. That's my point in the story. Receive your territory. What do I mean by that? Whatever territory you've been given now that you've been discovering yourself, receive that. Own it. Like it. Michael Jackson didn't call himself the king of pop. We did. We did. We put that on him because it's how we saw him. But he accepted it and took control over that brand. You've been assigned land. You've been assigned land, but you've got to claim it. You've been assigned prosperity, but you got to claim it. So yeah, I mean, I know how impacting this type of information is. If it's important to you, the impact that it's having on your life, only thing you need to do is like, share, make comments, communicate with me on this particular channel. Subscribe to it. You don't want to miss anything I have to say about this subject, because you're looking at a guy who's the evidence of how you can live your life.